The absolute hardest part is you do your audition, you walk out the door, and then you have to let it go forever. It's so much out of our control.
Mhm.
So sorry. I think your question kind of was, how do I deal with that, or how have I
Mhm.
dealt with that?
Yes, yes. Because I'm
Um,
sure there's roles you don't get.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, it is difficult. I mean, there's kind of two things to that. Is earlier on, because like we're moving on. I had then my experiences in high school, and then my experiences in college, and then my experiences in the professional world. So like all very different things. I'm, as you know, competitive as well. So like part of
Super
it,
competitive.
part of what our brain does is like, well, I want to be the best, and the best is therefore, especially when you're a young performer, the best is therefore uh the part with the most lines, or the quote unquote hardest part to play. um and I actually don't remember when that flipped for me. It may have been not getting enough roles in college at a huge university and a huge program, which was very competitive, where I started to embrace every role. Because in fact, one way that I learned it was there was a summer theater in at Midland Center for the Arts called Teenage Musicals Incorporated, that I did for a few summers, and I I did not get the lead in that, the one of the leads that I wanted to in that. And I got this vocal diction coach that's a part of this number called Moses Supposes, and it's this hilarious comedy, huge tap dance number. And I just took it and I ran with it. It was like we were saying, like I had an absolute blast. And part of it was understanding my function of the story. Why is that character there? How do they propel the story? So not getting the role that you necessarily want, I eventually learned to just embrace whatever role I had and give that my best. And that comes with the pride of what I was lucky enough to do and fortunate enough to do in being an actor. But let me tell you, man, it only gets harder. Like as soon as you leave college, all of a sudden it's like the best school you went to, the most imagination that you have, all of that, it doesn't go away, but all of that takes a huge backseat, because now you're selling yourself. Now you literally need to convince an agent or a manager that you're going to make them money, and you're going to make them money easily, because they don't make money unless I make money, right? So then it becomes a very different thing. And then it also becomes like, especially as I started to get in front of a camera more and do more television stuff, it's like that kind of a paycheck is a huge deal. So different than the world being on stage and in theater. So part of what I have to do is focus on the process, of auditioning, and enjoy. I've learned as I've gotten older to enjoy the process of preparing an audition and developing a character. And then the absolute hardest part is you do your audition, you walk out the door, and then you have to let it go forever. You basically have to assume, yeah, when you've literally invested a night, 2 nights, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month of your life. And you have to walk out the door as if it's never going to happen again. um, which is, I still don't do it well, but I'm getting better at it. And part of that is, again, redirecting my energy to the process of the audition and having fun with that. And then if I'm given the gift of booking the job, like getting the role, that's the cherry on top. But um, but it's hard, especially if it's a life-changing role. If it's a role that is going to pay a lot of money, it's hard not to build it up. But it's the nature of it. I could walk away at any time. I'm choosing to continue to put myself through it. So
Do you
Um,
feel like it's not worth it sometimes?
oh, every other day.
Mhm.
I should say every third day, because that's one thing my wife and I always check in about is the moment that it becomes more not worth it than worth it is the moment that we kind of decide, all right, well, what's next? There so I throughout many times in my life, it's been like, what am I doing? Like, this is impossible. This is so many things out of my control. And um you know but again, like you're saying, you have that, then you get a job and you have a moment like we had in sixth or seventh grade, doing a skit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and we had 12 people like laughing their butts off at us, and we were having the time of our lives. Well, and then once in a while you get to experience that with 2000, 3000 people, and you're in that, and you get to do that eight times a week, and um then you're like, all right, I can keep plugging along.
Give me
But
goosebumps.
yeah, it's it's tricky, but we all find different ways to continue to stay positive, right? And you got to find the good. Yeah, you got to find what's good about it.
I probably